almost everybody, there are some new faces, but almost everybody's been here, so it's awesome for me because then we can go right into patterns and add to the patterns. And so let's just start really quick. You got to do 2 moves, pretty simple. Little things I'll just say really quick. I won't recapture them too much. My hand is underneath his armpit. I would love to be able to grab his elbow, I'm sorry, with my hand. I would love to do that. And so I mean that by that is I don't want to pick him up like this because there's too much slack on this and potentially it can get to my throat. So I want to be controlling the elbow. That's what I would love to do. I'd also love to give him so much pressure that this is a false grip that my middle fingers, I'm not grabbing the elbow. I'm almost putting my fingers as deep over the top so that when I pull it, he tries to relieve some of the pressure of me turning this elbow and he comes up with his body. Because my goal was just to pick him up, either 45 or 90, whatever it may be. That was my goal. So I would love to control the elbow. Number 2, next thing is I lose track of how many numbers I got now. This kneecap, I would love to be touching there, right? Because if he comes up too quick, I want some type of barrier here, okay? So try to be very conscious of that contact. It's very important because he's been taught how to knee elbow escape from the very beginning. I don't want him knee elbow escaping. I don't want him turning. And if he does turn, I want to slow it down. Next thing is if I don't have contact, when my end product, when I bring him up like this, when I go stepping over, I need to knee pinch as tight as I can to hold his top shoulder line so I can make a transfer of my hands and end them up here. But if I'm not touching there, when you step over and squeeze, how would you be able to get some pressure to slow the turn down, right? So make sure you're touching when you step over. This hand is gonna be hunting. I don't know what yet, but I worked really hard by controlling this elbow, hanging over. One more thing about this head, right? I said about this elbow, when you make this turn, try your best, right, to think that your elbows are a steering wheel. My elbow should almost end up on the bottom pectoral. People will think that they're going to bring their elbow and be right here, like where the elbow's angled this way. No, because the elbows, first of all, you're always going to play the game T-Rex, right? You want to be as strong as you can. If you lift weights and you see the guy in the weightlifting and you make fun of him because he looks silly, he doesn't do full range of motion, he basically is like, picks up the whole weight stack, does like 6 inches and drops it. But in BJJ, that's the guy you admire because that guy, the other guy figured out that this is like the strongest point, but it doesn't really develop your muscles. But in BJJ, that's the strongest point. He's right. He just looks like a clown in the gym when he does it, but right? But in here, right, you're here like this. You're playing T-Rex, super tight. So our elbows are the steering wheel. My elbow's gonna look for this bottom pectoral because if I've done that, then my body angle is correct, right? Because then if I'm like this and I was turning this over so deep into the pectoral, my body angle would be perfect because I've never opened up my pockets. I'm also swiveling to keep this adjustment. So if you're tight here, 90% of the time, your body angles are gonna be correct here also. So they marry together, okay? So now when you make the turn, we said this here, touch, 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 potentially trying to get as close to this elbow, so because that potentially might be the thing I want to pop later. I drive my head tight now so that he can't get his head up, he can't get this arm to my throat. Now I brought him up to a 45, right? This hand is the one you're going to owe me two different moves with. The first one is you're going to make a wedge barrier behind him, right? So I turned over like this. I'm really tight. My elbow's down at this pectoral. My head is trying to touch this. I got constant contact with that position. Now as I come around, this hand was to hold the position at a 45, right? Or 90, depending on how deep your angle is. But I'm sitting here, either I grab shorts or I wedge my hand. Now this back leg is the one that's going to pinch, and now it's going to replace this hand. So this is my backside wedge. Now I replace my backside wedge with my kneecaps. I'm squeezing the pocket as tight as I can because I don't want him to lead left or right. So I'm making a transfer with this hand. Everything I do is with my head down. Don't do this. Don't start thinking that you're going to lift your head and slide this. You've already lost him. You just totally lost him because two things are going to happen. Either he's going to over-rotate on you too quick and now you're not going to be able to self-adjust fast enough, or potentially you're going to be so low that you're going to be late on this quadrant, or potentially when you pull him out so high, and he's a good player, he's going to snake his elbow line in 2 seconds down on you. And then you're going to lose the elbow line, now you're going to lose the wrist, now you're going to, everything's going to go south on you, right? So get into the practice that I'm sitting here. I'm holding, my body position is as tight behind that tricep as possible. This is my lacing hand. Once my lace is through, I still go over lacing. I don't look for my own hand. I don't look for my wrist. I worry about the back of the tricep, and that's it. I can't lose the elbow line. People would think it's all about the connection. Forget about the connection of the hands, man. You can't lose this position behind here. So when you're here like this and you snake through, I'm never letting go of the back of that tricep, right? Now my hands marry up and I pull away. That's number one. On the second one, you owe me that cervical crank, okay? And you're gonna see why it matters, because sometimes when you pick them up, I can't control them. I'm not holding his bottom elbow, and what happens when he comes up so quick and you're like, oh boy, I overpulled, and now this guy's coming up, and I'm like, whoa, this guy's 260 pounds, and like, what am I doing now, right? So you gotta be able to address them all, but you owe me two. The first one was that pickup, second one's the same thing. I pick him up, I'm like this, and I'm going, you know what, this neck is wide open right now. He's not defending, he's trying to push me down here, he's trying to get his knee. Why not just grab onto that neck? My only goal right now is to put his chin in the palm of my hand. Okay, so if I own his chin's gonna sit right there. I'm not worried about his neck, okay? So when I feel his chin in the center pocket of my palm, I push back the other way, okay? So now that becomes that cervical crank that we talked about. It's hard to view it from here, right? But when so my hand's like this, I push him down, I get him supine, okay? Don't let him stay at that 45. If he's gonna stay at the 45, then you gotta think ahead. You either gotta hit a guillotine when he comes up too quick, or you potentially gotta spin to the back, because he's playing this tweener game and how he's reading you too. So one more time, you pick them up, makes a side-side wedge, turn my head, control my elbow line. I make a one step over, I'm replacing this arm, open up, I'm super low and tight behind that tricep. I lace as deep as possible so that I never let go of that tricep. Now I marry my hands, rip away, come back. Second one is same thing. I pick them up, I'm doing everything exactly the same. Don't short the move. It frustrates me, frustrates my professor, Mr. Danaher, when people will just go like, no, the move stays exactly the same. The only thing different, everything, I drill this twice to perfection if I can. I control the jawline, I pick him up, I brought this elbow over, it's coming over, and I drop it. Now I'm over here hanging off the side. I see opportunity to make a wedge point. As I make this wedge, now I start turning my body line. I'm in a good spot, I step over. On the second one, I did everything exactly the same, okay, exactly. I was here, I don't know the outcome of anything. I pick him up, I start dropping my elbow to that bottom pectoral, I make that scissor turn, I'm really tight, trying to control, make sure that that arm can't get to my face. Now I see an opportunity, I'm going, man, do I want to make this wedge? I feel his neck's already mine. Now I caught that chin is sitting in the palm of my hand. I could pick and choose what I want to do now. But I decided that I'm going to choke you now instead of coming over for the armbar. So I'm going to drive him supine to get his back to the mat. So I'm going to shoot long, turn my body angle, and now finish it the other way. So you had two. On the third, after you drill this for a bunch of, we're going to assume that sometimes when I pick him up, man, he's going to come up too quick on me. And now I got to be ready for everything. Okay, guys, let's partner up and do it. I was going to add a different move. So maybe on Wednesday we have, but I see some people falling back to the armbar. So why don't we go there first? Okay. You've done everything right, right? And just a couple of things. I even get scared doing it, and I get scared when I see you do it. Meaning this, they've come through like this, they've made this backside wedge, they're here like this, they're lacing, and now they make this transfer, right? We'll deal with this in a second, right? They fall back, and they put this foot just like this, right? And they fall back like this, and now they land like this, and their leg is like this, and then they take it out. If this guy is really big and strong, that's how you tear your meniscus. Because I'm in this position, watch NFL football, and you know, like, man, you see those turns, and you know exactly how what went. I watch the NFL, I go, oh boy, he lost his MCL, lost his meniscus, he lost his ace. That one. So never turn that foot out like that. I know it in the beginning, it feels awkward, but it feels awkward because next thing that's going to happen is, right, you do that because you're scared about getting this leg wedged underneath here, which also is an issue. I sit back like this, and now I told you to sit back in an arm bar, and you go like this. And now my foot's stuck, and anything comes up like this, and you're going, all right, and I'm sitting here like this, and now he basically just pins my legs, and now he fights to get this arm, and it's like, and this went south, right? That didn't going to turn out too well, right? I want to be able to chase him, right? I want to be able to, like, I don't know, like, look, this isn't about this submission. This is about submission 4 or 5 down the line. Like, I got to be prepared to follow this man as much as I can, right? So when you slide this leg out, slide the kneecap out, okay? I want this leg to be able to be used. Right now, if it's stuck under there, I can't use it. And I need all my limbs because he's bigger and stronger, okay? So you're sitting here like this. You shot this guy long. We'll deal with this guy in a second. Cynthia, can you go on this side? You're squeezing your knees, right? And I'll show it from both sides. You're squeezing your knees, squeezing. And now I'm going, Dad, I can't get this arm out. And this guy's so freaking strong. And I'm a little bit scared that in order for me to use more power, I got to drop this knee, pick this guy up, and now base him and rip hard. But now look at me. I'm in not the best spot. And if he's powerful, like, holy shit, I may be late on this transfer now, and now this goes south on me, and you could do it. I'm not saying it's wrong, because I would take the chance too if time is running out on me. And but we might say that, hey, you know what, let's play it a little angle safer, is let's fall back into an armbar and get our legs into the fight, because then I maybe get a triangle. I can like attack them a lot of different ways if my legs are in the fight. So this kneecap on this side, slide it out. I'm going to ask you, don't turn the toes down like that. You're going to sit on the back side of your foot. So you're sitting here like this. I take this kneecap and I put it out really far, right? So when I fall back, all I do is this, right? Because, right, let's say I didn't want to get this leg stuck. This is really what I wanted to do. I wanted to take this leg. This isn't a perfect world. I want to take this leg, throw it to the other side, grab onto this elbow, reach this elbow up high, and now deal with this hand grip. That would be the perfect world for me, okay? But it's not the perfect world, right? Just sitting here like this. I slide this kneecap out, I fall back. Now what if Ethan were to come up so quick and I clears my face? I'm sitting here like this. I got this free leg, and Ethan's holding on for dear life with his hands. And I'm going, but I got this free leg because I placed it right. Now when I go kick these hips out, I'm going to take this arm back from him, right? Now I have that. He's got an exposed hip that I can use my glutes, my hands, my hip. I'm taking that, or I'm going to make your life hell, because I'm going to keep kicking that hip on you, and I'm going to keep knocking that hip. And eventually you're either going to go belly down on me, or you're going to cooperate and go over. But at the same time, you're meddling with the other leg. Like, I don't care. You do whatever you want. The other leg only has 2 positions. It can either blade in front of your face, or you're going to eat the hamstring. What I cared about was cracking that hip on the bottom, so that I take your right now. If you're kind of strong because you're holding on for dear life and you're in a turtle position, I got to get you away from that position. So now let's go back to the move. So you understand a little bit about what could happen as the sequence unfolds, right? You're sitting here like this, right? And now I said to you, right, slide kneecap out, fall back, okay? If you can, try to have very conscious contact. Like Steve Marabelli said that to me, and it stuck forever. Have conscious contact of the back of this hamstring on this jawline. Because when you fall back, right, I don't want him coming up so quick on me, because I need about a quarter second, maybe half a second, to take this leg out and get it into the fight, right? The way I buy that is because when I sat back, I'm sitting so high up on this angle up here. I'm not sitting here, so you can't roll up on me. I'm sitting here ready to chase you, but I got to get this foot out, okay? Reason I'm bringing it up is try to have conscious contact with the back of your hamstring. When I'm sitting here, focus on his face. At no point when I'm going to slide my kneecap out, I'll describe what I'm doing over there. I'm sliding my kneecap out. Look at Ethan. He's only going to look one way. He can never look at me. He can never look at me. Okay? So I never do this. In the beginning, guys will slide the kneecap out and they go like this. But he can look this way then, right? And then he can also lace this guy underneath. And now that's his best escape, but I gave it to him. Like, so don't do that, okay? If you learn how to do this, this will come easy for you. It's not that you have to be flexible. I slid my kneecap out. I never let him look towards me. He's looking that way. Now when I curl over, where do I go with that leg? I look for that elbow, because that, I told you 1 minute ago, the most ideal setting on an arm bar is to know where that elbow is, collect it with this back leg, and I reach for it and bring these hands up. Because if the hands are here, I don't need strength to separate them. I can separate them down the center, hanging over the top. It's a totally different class. I don't want to get people lost with that stuff, but so you're going to do the same move. You're just going to give me an arm bar, okay? If your inner arch is facing downwards, you've done the move wrong, okay? Sit on that side. Let's turn this around so people on this side. You're sitting here like this. Only thing you're going to focus on my kneecap. As I slide this kneecap out, I sit on my back leg. So my foot should look just like this, outside seam. Do not, this will be, in the beginning, guys will do this, right? And now I sit back, and now if he came up too quick, there goes that meniscus on you, okay? Also, like, you're gonna be late on your other transitions. Also, this foot is a wedge point, right? So now you're not even gonna have the wedge point because the angle's off over there. Like, when this foot sits back, it's sitting here. Because when he comes into it, I want to hold this position for a second. In case, I might drag this over, drive it far away, but there's got to be some wedges. Like, but if my foot's the other way, you've lost the position. You've lost so many things that even on the rotations where I told about 2 minutes ago, that I tried to tell you a bigger story about how this man's going to move, his reactions, what he's going to do. Listen, if you know the story, man, like you get out of the test. Some guy will be there 2 hours taking the test. The other guy walks out in 15 minutes because he knows the story. He just knows, oh, okay, this is how it's going to play out. I can feel your muscle twitches. This is where you want to go. Okay, so let's partner up. The only thing you got to do all three. You got to give me a cervical crank. You got to give me a Kimura. You got to give me the arm bar. The arm bar, we can go into deeper details later in the week. But everything starts exactly the same from the very beginning, right? Perfection on your drilling of the entry. And then we don't know where it goes from there. Okay, guys, partner up. 1, 2, 3. I've shown this where you're in a knee pinch and you pick this leg up and you use it as a base to pull away as hard as you can so that I can make separation this way, because it's hard to just get his hand over his back, because that's how the gripping strength is. Like, I got to separate it away before I bring it back. And now you're going, the question was like, well, when do I do the other thing? But you really, like, this is what you're reading, right? This guy's just basically stalling. He's given up fighting. He's like this, holding on, buried his hands in between, laced it on, like, who knows what he's grabbing between his legs, but he's like holding on for dear life. And he's not fighting to get up. And I go, man, I really want this arm. And I want to fight and pull this arm out. So that's really when you're going to do that, pick that back leg up, right? The other thing is, what's the issue? That you go like this and you go, and remember I said that I powerfully pulled away. As Ethan comes to turtle, stay right there. As Ethan comes to turtle, as long as I know the story, this leg's got to loop this way and I got to bring him back the other way. Because I've sacrificed this massive pull. Now Ethan comes to turtle, I got to slide back this way. So I'm ready, set. I'm okay, but that's a weird slide. Potentially you're not going to be able to leverage him over. I got to know what I'm doing, like, and it's not part of your wheelhouse, and he comes up too quick. I'm a little scared. Then unless you repped it, head is going into pavement. Okay, we're sitting here like this, and now I'm pulling back hard. And I'm going, I can't get this thing out. It's still the same move. The back side, Cynthia, can you film the back? The back side go, man, I can't get this arm out. Kneecap drops, spacing happens. I turn and I'm back with my foot. Right, so I understand my outs. I'm not going to redline. That's the worst thing you could do. Even when drilling and training, like, you know, like when I yell at the end, like, go for it, I want you to go for it. Because I think it builds, like, character off the mat. Like, you know, I don't, like, when they're yelling at you, man, go, 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 go. That's life, man. You know, life gets shitty sometimes and you have a choice. You're going to lay in bed or you're going to get up and go. I think it's go up and go. So, right, that I'm okay. But for the most part, I never redline, because if it was realistic fighting, or if it was 20 minutes, or, you know, sometimes I've been there. So I'm not going to say that I didn't know. When I've been in a match where it's like 2 minutes in, and it's like two cats going at each other. I'm going, whew, whew, how much time? And they go, 2 minutes. And I went, 2 minutes left? And they go, no, 2 minutes in. And I went, holy shit, man. And like, yeah, I know, because and in the beginning, everybody does it. If you ever competed, everybody's had those adrenaline dumps and you go limp and all that stuff. Like, it's just learning to deal with it, okay? And learning how to manage your energy expenditures, right? So when I go pull, that was the answer to that question, right? I go pull, I can't get it out, sit back, get my legs in the fight, let's see if I hunt you a different way. But if I'm gonna pull, you better be ready to slide out on it, because you just sacrificed an angle with such extreme angles that I don't want you face planting on that turn, okay? You have about 4 minutes. Take notes, drill, but try to be productive in the 4 minutes. Try to be productive. Let's do it, guys. 1, 2, 3.